Hello everyone, today I'm going to review for you the new Dior Forever foundation. And just like with my new Chanel foundation review, I'm going to start off with a fresh face, no makeup on, just moisturizer and sunscreen so that you can see the differences on my face. Now here are the two foundations in question. This is the Forever Flawless Perfection Fusion Wear Makeup, and this is the new version. They're both frosted glass bottles with blue lids, except for the new foundation has a blue lid that's very similar to the Dior Compact, with a silver rim and the CD logo within the cap. The old bottle has just a traditional navy blue cap with CD embossed in silver on the top. And for those of you who watched my videos long ago when I first started with a webcam, I was always a fan of the Dior Forever foundation, regardless of whatever people said. A lot of people criticize Dior Forever Extreme for being cakey and hard to apply, but honestly, it's because of the way people were applying it. If you apply this with your fingers, you get a really nice clean slate, and it's not too cakey at all if you don't powder with a setting powder or a powder foundation. You have to leave this as is or it will cake up a little bit. But I really feel as though this was a great foundation for those who needed that extra coverage. If you have, for example, acne scars or open pores. My best friend, who is acne prone, has tried both Dior Forever and Dior Nude, and I really love the way Dior Forever, the old formula, the Extreme Wear Flawless Makeup, really looked on her. They both come in the same shade ranges. My Dior Forever Extreme is an 021 because that's the shade I used to be. I still have my summer tan, so I purchased the new one in 031. So this is the Fusion Wear in 031, which is a shade higher than what I normally am in 02. So for Dior Forever, and any Dior foundation in fact, the number 3 and the number 2, so the second numbers, stand for how deep your shade is. So 1 is very fair, 2 is light to medium, 3 is medium, and 4 would be medium dark. 1 stands for undertone, and as you can see, both of mine end with a number 1. That's because both of these are yellow-based foundations. If you're pink toned, your foundation will end with 2. If you are neutral, your foundation will end with 0. Mine ends with 1, so again, that means these yellow-toned foundations. I really love Dior foundations, and the Forever is my favorite. It's still my favorite. I still prefer the new Fusion Wear to the Dior Nude or the Dior Sculpt. I just feel like it's the right foundation for my skin type, and that is combination, for those of you who don't know. I haven't tried the Dior Capture Total foundation simply because it is an anti-aging foundation and I don't want to venture down that route just yet. But back to the Dior Forevers, both still have an SPF of 25. Which makes them not an ideal foundation for flash photography. If you wear this foundation and you do take pictures, you go out at night, it will flash back. So you will get that white ghost face. So I don't recommend it for nights out. But it is a great day foundation if you want a slightly heavier coverage. The new Fusion Wear doesn't have nearly as much coverage as the old Extreme Wear. So if you like a medium to full, truly on the full side, definitely go out and grab a bottle of these before they're completely gone. If you like sheer to medium and best at medium coverage, definitely check out the Flawless Perfection Fusion. Now I'm sure many of you want to see me put on the foundation, so let's get started. So you really want to make sure you shake up the Forevers. And for those curious, this is exactly what I look like when I go to school. No makeup, undone hair. This is just what my hair looks like naturally. And I'll start with the original Forever first. This is the Forever Extreme Flawless Wear. And like I explained in the beginning, this is an 021, not 031 like the new Forever foundation that I just purchased. I'm going to place about 1 pump on my finger and start applying to this side of my face. And I like to spread this foundation out with my fingers. But don't be scared because of the way it looks on my face. Dior Forevers tend to oxidize. I'm just going to tap a little extra foundation onto the cheekbones because that's where I need the most coverage due to my broken capillaries. And now I'm going to apply the new Dior Forever. This is the Flawless Perfection Fusion Wear. I'm going to apply this on the left side of my face so you're viewing right. And I'm going to use a brush. This is a Sigma Round Top Kabuki in F82. And like I said, this one's in 031. I'm just going to blend this out with a brush. I feel like the finish is way too sheer when applied with my fingers. So today, I'm going to show you what the finish is like with this brush. If you like very sheer coverage, do apply this foundation with your hands. I'm starting to sweat, so I'm just going to smooth out the edges. As you can see, this side is actually a little bit more dewy than this side. But as you can see, the finish is less matte, and considering I used 2 pumps on this side of my face, after all, because I did use a brush and a brush soaks up a little bit of the product, I used 1 pump and a little bit extra along the tops of the cheeks, except that it shows a lot more coverage than does this side of my face. So obviously it's really up to you. I still prefer the old Dior Forever, even though it looks a little mask-like to some people. I just find that it has such nice coverage. I don't need to powder at all. I leave it as is and my face stays matte for most of the day. But with this new Dior Forever, I must powder. That's the one difference now. But anyone who didn't like the Dior Extreme Forever will like the new Dior Forever Fusion, simply because it's so much easier and more fluid to blend on your face as opposed to the Dior Forever Extreme, which some people thought they had to tug and play with a little bit, especially if you did not apply it with your hands. Overall, I think they're both great foundations, but I am going to run out and purchase an old Dior Forever in 031 just because I want an extra bottle on hand. So if you want the old Dior Forever, I suggest you call your counter, make sure they still have some left so that you can go out and pick one up if you like them. Otherwise, the shades are still pretty similar to the old Dior Forever lineup, so you can just get whatever color you matched to previously. Like I said, I'm 031 in this shade now because I still have my summer tan. Will I purchase 021 in the new Dior Forever? Probably not, because I do prefer my Chanel Perfection Lumiere foundation to this. But of course, that's just my preference. You can always find out which is yours by going to the Dior counter and the Chanel counter and asking for a sample of each. And now let me put on some makeup so we can get back to the actual review. So now that you've seen my face with just the foundations and no powder, I went ahead and applied my makeup normally. So I powdered with Cargo Blu-ray powder in 30, and then I topped with a bunch of color makeup, which I will go ahead and link down below in the description box. And now to wrap up the review, let's just say that as much as I love both of these foundations for the different kinds of coverage they provide, it's just the same with Chanel Perfection Lumiere and the old Pearl Lumiere. I really think that they are 2 completely different foundations, and while the Dior Forevers are not quite as different as in the case of Perfection Lumiere, I still feel that these are very different foundations. I know that a lot of people will love the new Perfection Fusion makeup simply because it is easier to apply, provides a little less coverage, so it's more versatile for people who would prefer to build their coverage as opposed to those who use a little bit to achieve a lot of coverage. I think normal skins will like the new Fusion foundation the best. Those with oily skin will have done much better with the older Extreme Wear, simply because it is a heavier foundation that controls the oil a little bit better. If you are oily, I do recommend that you try the Chanel Vita Lumiere Aqua or the Chanel Perfection Lumiere foundations first. If those don't work out for you for whatever reason, whether it's shade or finish that you don't like, definitely pick up a sample of the Flawless Perfection Fusion. And before this review comes to a close, I just want to thank Lisa, who is my friend on Twitter. We talk all the time. But if it wasn't for her, I totally would not have realized when this foundation would have been released. I would have been even later than I already am. So thank you, Lisa, for reminding me of the launch of this foundation. And for those of you who really want to give it a try, make sure you do a patch test first on the side of your cheek. Just apply a little bit and make sure you don't break out. Just make sure you take the precautions so that you don't see a reaction. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.